I'm sure all of you have heard about deals with the devil. You may also have noticed that a good number of people who have been said to be involved in fashion pacts are musicians. Giuseppe Tartini, Niccolo Paganini, Robert Johnson, Jim Morrison, and the list goes on. 15 years ago, I decided that I wanted to be added on that list. I was an office worker, stuck in a monotonous routine so that I could provide for my wife and son. My true passion, however, lied in jazz. Once in a while, I would play a few songs with the dusty keys of my piano and feel overwhelmed by the frenzy of emotions it brought. I wanted to leave my job, say fuck it all, and work as a jazz pianist, maybe even open my own club. Yet, I couldn't do that with my family relying on me. If I wanted to change my life, I needed fame, and I needed it quick. Months of research led me to a dingy antique store downtown that claimed to sell a music score that would summon the devil. It sounded like a scam, but I was desperate. I met up with my buddy Russell, who was a struggling violinist, to play the piece after I purchased it. Though hesitant, he went with my request as I insisted him to give it a try. I didn't expect things to go so wrong. When I close my eyes now, I still remember the medley vividly. It was reminiscent to waking up to a dark summer dawn, when the bleeding sun causes red to seep through the obsidian clouds, and the only sound to be heard is the soft trill of a half-awakened bird. It was haunting, but so beautiful. I was weightless. I seemed to feel what I didn't feel, to understand what I didn't understand, to have powers that I didn't have. Or at least until the pain came. It was a sudden searing pain that began in my hands and spread throughout my body. It felt like 1,000 knives scraping against my skin and digging into my flesh, twisting farther and farther. I wanted to scream and cry out, but no sound escaped my mouth. My hands and arms started to melt, unraveling muscles and bone, but they continued to move in their own accord. I watched as my body contorted itself to play the notes that became impossible to be played. Watched as my bones broke and my sinews stretched. The only reason why I didn't perish that day was Russell. Amidst the music that filled the room, I heard the shatter of glass and a broken scream, then felt something slam into me. Only after the incident did I realize what happened. Russell had thrown himself into the mirror to stop playing the violin, then did the same towards me so I would be free as well. The neighbors heard the commotion and called the cops. I could imagine their surprise when they found two people who were barely alive and looked like they had gone through hell. What happened next passed as a blur, but I'll never forget the words Russell croaked out as we were stretchered off into an ambulance. They were the last words he ever said to me. He said, "We weren't worthy." Russell passed away that evening, while I survived. The doctors called it a miracle, but I called it a curse. I have been bedridden since then, spending the rest of my life in agony. I could never use my hands again, much less play the piano. My wife couldn't bear to see me like this and stopped visiting our son after a few months. Perhaps the only thing that makes me thankful that I have survived until now is that my son has started visiting me on his own after 15 years. He's a young man, and though I feel proud seeing him, It pains me that I couldn't watch him grow up. That's why I have asked him to type out my story and share it with you. Treasure what you have. And if you ever come across an opportunity to make a deal with the devil, do not take it. You don't want to end up like me. I couldn't stop hearing Russell's pleas for help, accompanied by cruel laughter at night since that day. I feel that I will join him soon.